teaching not only those people in that time, but teaching us also. Amen. Here comes this priest. Here comes a preacher. And he just went on the other side. Didn't go close enough to see whether the man needed help or not. All right. I hope ain't nobody in here like that. You understand? I hope at least you'll see whether they need help and call 911 or something. I understand the way things are today, you don't want to go up too close. Because they might be frauding anyway. They might be waiting for you to get too close and rob you. So at least you ought to go close enough to see whether they're really in distress and just call 911. Because everybody got a cell phone nowadays. I seen fellas riding bicycles with cell phones. I mean, everybody got a cell phone. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Ain't too many folks ain't got no cell phone. Especially these youngsters. Amen. 8 and 9 years old, they got cell phones. Amen. So at least go close enough to see, amen, what's going on with the person. But this priest went on the other side. He went on by the business. I guess he figured I'm late for church. I hope nobody passed somebody on the way and said, I'm late for church. I have to help them next time. Amen. And then Jesus said, and then a Levite. Well, that's a deacon. Amen. Or a trustee. Say, a Levite. He came along. He was and came and looked on him. At least he came up close enough to look on him. And then he passed on the other side. All right. And no help. Jesus was trying to build it up to what he was really talking about. Because he wanted this lawyer to understand. You're the doctor of the law. You're the one teaching the law. And you don't even know who your neighbor are. Right. A lot of us sitting in here right now don't know who your neighbor are. You think the folk next door is your neighbor or down the street is your neighbor. But after this, you ought to know who your neighbor is. Amen. Amen. And guess what? After that deacon looked, he passed on the other side also. I'm trying to get to a point here. You see, we need to help folks. And a lot of times it be people right in church that we don't help. You understand? We need to help people. A lot of times we pass them by. We help our families, we help our cousins, our kindred and stuff like that, but then these people in the church. A lot of times we know they need help, then we don't help them. But guess what? A certain Samaritan. All right. And we know about Samaritan. I hope everybody knows about a Samaritan. Samaritans was the people that the Jews did not like because they were a mixed breed, whatever we call half breed. They were mixed up with Jews and Gentiles. And they couldn't stand them. But guess what this man did? When he came, when he saw, he had compassion on him, and he went to him and bound up his wound, poured in oil and wine, and set him on his own beast, and brought him to the inn and took care of him. All right. I'm dealing with who's our neighbor. Now you see, these religious folks, the preacher and the deacon, he didn't have time to put the other choir members and ushers in there and missionaries. Jesus didn't have time to bring all them in, but most likely they would have passed by also and went on the other side. But look what happened. This Samaritan, this one that what the Jews did not like, the Jews didn't have no dealing with the Samaritan. Y'all think about when Jesus was at the well. Amen. The woman told Jesus, said, you know what, I'm a Samaritan. The Jews don't have no dealing with Samaritans. The Jews hate Samaritans. But this Samaritan bound up his wound. Not only bound up his wound, but he took him to the inn. And he said on the morrow when he departed, he took out 2 pennies and gave to the host and said unto him, take care of him. And whatsoever thou spendest more when I come again, I will repay thee. Which now, here go Jesus to break this lawyer down. Which now of these 3 thinkest thou was neighbor unto him that fell among thieves? And look what this lawyer says. And he said, he that showed mercy on him. Then said Jesus unto him, go and do thou likewise. What he's trying to say, Earl? See, a lot of times we don't go and show mercy to folks. We think our neighbor is the one the next house over. or 2 streets down or around the corner from us. We feel that they are our neighbors. But the ones that you show mercy to, amen. Like he said, that the one that showed mercy, that's your neighbor. Who is our neighbor? Every now and then you ought to help somebody. You see, every now and then when folks have to ask you for help and you ain't got time to help them because you've been helping your family too much. And you say, well, I ain't got nothing left over to help somebody else. Amen. But this Samaritan didn't worry about that. This Samaritan just went on and bound up his wound. He went on and did what he had to do to help this man. If this Samaritan had not helped this man, most likely this man would have died. How many folks we done passed up on the road? How many folks we done refused to help? How many folks done lost their house? How many folks done lost their cars? How many folks that don't even have nowhere to live that we have refused to help? But Jesus said that whoever shows mercy, that is the neighbor. So we should know now that our neighbor is whoever helps. Amen. They could be from across town. But if they give us a little help, then they are our neighbor. They could be from overseas, but they give us a little help, then they are our neighbors. But every now and then you ought to just stop and help somebody. I heard the songwriter say that I can help somebody a long life journey, then my living won't be in vain. We don't want our living to be in vain. We want to be able to, for Jesus to say, well done, thou good and faithful servant. But look at it like this, that lawyer should have been ashamed. He should have felt bad. Because Jesus had made him look bad. Because he was letting them know, if you show mercy to somebody, then you become their neighbor. Who are our neighbor? Sometimes we'll look at somebody and say, I don't like that person. Sometimes we'll look over here and say, I don't like the way they look. And because I don't like the way they look, I ain't going to help them.